My name is Natalie Nottolini, and I'm going to be talking about activism and leadership. When I first came to Purdue, I knew that I wanted to be involved in activism. I was eager to figure out how I could use my skill set to create social and political change. I knew that I had a lot to learn, so I took action. The first step I took was joining a feminist student organization, the Feminist Action Coalition for Today, or FACT, where I could begin my journey towards leadership that I had been looking for. I learned about reproductive justice, intersectional feminism, and how movements create change utilizing those frameworks. But this was only the beginning. I had so much more to learn. From here on out, I decided that I would dedicate my time towards developing my leadership skills and figuring out how I could be a leader in my community at Purdue. I attended organizing workshops, watched documentaries, listened to podcasts about folks and their experiences in their communities, and lobbied a couple of state legislators along the way. I was slowly building my organizing toolkit and developing the skills that were well suited for me. Through these experiences, I have gathered a few key takeaways that have been helpful for me to keep in mind as I continue to be active in my community at Purdue and beyond. Number 1, using a reproductive justice framework. For those who don't know, reproductive justice is a term founded by Loretta Ross, which states that every person should be able to have the family that they want when they want, and should be able to raise that family in the environment that is right for them. Reproductive justice encompasses so many things, from access to birth control to providing clean water for a community. This framework has been foundational for my development as a leader. One of the many times I have used a reproductive justice framework in action was during my freshman year, when I took the opportunity to lobby at the Indiana State House on Hoosier Day of Action to oppose a bill that would limit access to abortion based off of pharmacists' personal beliefs. I talked to a congresswoman who didn't really want to hear anything we had to say. Then a group of us talked to my current district's representative, who was willing to engage in conversation with us. We were able to articulate why this bill was harmful through a reproductive justice lens, and in the end, he agreed with us and promised that he would vote differently the next time a bill like this came up. This was one of the first actions I had participated in while at Purdue, and it helped me build up my confidence for talking to people with power on issues as important as reproductive justice. Number 2, the importance of one-on-one organizing. In developing as a leader, I have learned how to have one-on-one conversations centered around issues in a community and how effective it can be when building connections. A good leader works with people, listens to them, and knows when to take a back seat. Being engaged in conversations with community members strengthens bonds and unites people under a cause. This unity will strengthen social movements, and it is important that leaders don't underestimate the power of listening. Number 3, dedicating my time to things that I enjoy. One thing that I never thought about before engaging in organizing leadership is the idea that self-care is leadership. One way that I practice self-care is by agreeing to commitments that I know will help my personal growth. Some moments come to mind from last year when I would attend CELD movie nights. They showed a variety of movies and documentaries, and one that has stuck out in my mind was a movie called Pride, which told the story about how lesbian and gay activists showed solidarity with miners during the British miners' strike in 1984. The movie showed the importance of solidarity between different intersections of people and how this solidarity can bring forth social change. This helped me conceptualize the importance of coalition building and extending support towards others' movements. Number 4, leading a direct action is not the only type of leadership in a movement. Yes, direct action leaders are typically the ones on the front page or on the news, as they are the folks picketing, marching, and dying in. But most initiatives need more than just direct action. They need leaders who can unite folks against a common enemy and move people on the spectrum of allies from passive support to active support. They need organizers who file permits, set up speaking contracts, people to have meetings with legislators, and trainers to develop the actionable skills of others. I have learned that leaders don't always have to be in the front. They just have to be in a place where they can best support the movement and the folks in it. Activism is often an overlooked form of leadership, but it is essential in creating change. It requires leaders to be community-oriented, gives people their own power to advocate for themselves and their neighbors. Activism takes many different forms, which creates leaders with their own skills and provides ample opportunities for people to engage in the leadership process. I practice leadership in movements by focusing on logistics and handling finances. So now I challenge you to reflect on 2 questions. How will you continue to develop your leadership? And how does your leadership support your own community?